Well, hello there. How nice to have you here. This is the first ever episode of the Get Inspired show. This version is advert and track free for your auditory pleasure because who's got time for those kind of things? Am I right? I do hope you'll enjoy it. Good morning, and a very happy Saturday to you. You're listening to Smile Radio. I'm Adele Clough, and this is the Get Inspired show. When I'm not on air, I'm a life coach, supporting my clients to flourish in every area of their lives. The Get Inspired show is all about inspiring you to change your life and unleash your full potential. Today's show is all about finding calm in the chaos of life. We are all so busy, and it can be so hard to find a way to just calm things down. I'll be chatting with a meditation teacher as well as sharing my own top tips. Plus, I have an abundance of feel-good music lined up for you. Our first song is from a man with the most delightful curls. This is Mika, Love Today. Mika, Love Today on Smile Radio. If you've got a favourite happy or uplifting song, do let me know. Reach out to Smile Radio on social media. It's Smile Radio 3 on Instagram and Twitter, or on Facebook, we're just Smile Radio. If you want to reach out to me directly and connect, that's super duper too. I am Yes2Gal on Facebook and Twitter. That's YESTOGAL. Or on Instagram, the Yes2Gal, because some cheeky person has got Yes2Gal, but they're not using it. There's nothing to be seen there. So don't go over to them and have a little look, because there's nothing. So you go and have a look, but it's going to be a bit disappointing. Or you can just search for me by my name. I'm Adele Clough. I am a life coach. So I fill my days supporting people to change their lives, to transform their life experience into something that they really want. And it's amazing, like people really change with the support of a good coach. So if you want to know more about life coaching, hop over to my website, adeleclough.com, ADELECLOUGH.com. Have a little nosy around there, you'll find out all about me. I'm quite transparent in what I do. I don't really hold secrets, so have a good old nosy around. If you want to ask me a question about me, my radio show, feel free. It's hello@adeleclough.com. If you have got a question and you'd love me to respond to it, a question about your life, something you'd like to be different, go right ahead. Just pop in your subject line Smile Radio question, and again, hello@adeleclough.com will get your question to me. We will have a question coming up later, so stay tuned for that. So today we are talking about how to stay calm, create calm in the chaos of life. We're all so busy, aren't we? Myself included, and I cannot create more time for you. I don't quite have that skill, but what I can do is help you to learn a bit more about how to slow down, think a little more clearly, and reduce your stress. So shall we dive in and talk a little bit about slowing down? Why don't we? So basically, we live in busy times with all kinds of responsibilities. There's no wonder we feel pushed and pulled in many directions, and it's no surprise we often feel stressed, exhausted, we can't concentrate on one thing, as often we're trying to do many things at once. This concept of multitasking, it's not good. I don't really go in for the multitasking. I think we get the best from ourselves when we do one thing at a time as much as we can. It's not always possible, but where you can, be kind to yourself and focus on one thing at a time. Let's talk a little bit about interferences that get in the way of us really being the person we want to be, the things that distract us from who we are, who we could be, our true power, our true nature. These day-to-day distractions that keep popping up. I think life's really loud and there's so much to do. Stress levels are high, we're running on adrenaline, we're eating while we're watching TV, we're chatting on the phone while we're doing something else, really. Just as I talk about it with you, I'm like, whoa, it's all just too much. One of the things I talk to my clients a lot about, now brace yourself, because this does not make me popular, but I'm still going to say it to you. I really strongly advise my clients to have technology-free time, to turn off their Wi-Fi, to charge your phone away from your bed. Do not have your mobile phone near you. And I know people find this advice horrifying and they come at me with, how am I going to wake up in the morning without my phone? You know, there's two words in answer to that, isn't there? Alarm clock. You know, we all used to manage just fine with them. And then people say, but what if I miss an email? What if I miss a text? What if I miss a status update? You know, this is really concerning what we do into ourselves and our brains. We're addicted. You know, I know we all think it's vitally important that we're constantly connected with people, but I just want to invite you to really think about that. I really want you to think about whether that is really necessary. Let's keep things in perspective here. If you leave a message for a few hours and don't reply to it, it's really okay. Assuming it's not an urgent message, it's okay to be focused on something else that you need to do and to reply afterwards. I think the thing is, we often elevate the importance, we have in the world. We think we're more important than we are. I've done it. I've had all kinds of delusions that if I leave someone's message for more than 10 minutes, they're going to be deeply distressed and upset. I mean, really? That's just not true. That's just a weird little assumption. You know, this thought about I've got to be available or something terrible's going to happen. I think the thing is, unless your job focuses on saving lives, people can wait. They might not want to wait. They might want you right now. But if you give the message to them that you're available 24/7, then they will feel free to contact you 24/7. But I think there's something in having a few healthy boundaries and being consistent in when you communicate to people when you're available. I tell people that I'm not available after 9 p.m. And they're like, what are you? Like, how old are you going to bed at 9 o'clock? It's like, well, I just need to decompress from my day. I give so much to people that at 9 o'clock I need to settle down and have a book to read. That might seem harsh, but I give so much and I want a little bit of downtime. So unless it's urgent, I don't want a text message after 9 o'clock. And it took a while for people to get their head around this. But actually now it's really, really fine. And I've set my mobile phone so it automatically goes into silent mode at 9 o'clock. A couple of people are on my, I think it's called my favourites list. They can kind of send me a text outside of that time. But the rest of it, they can just wait. They can really, really wait. The Get Inspired Show is all about inspiring you to change your life and unleash your full potential. One of the things I talk to my clients quite a lot about is what goes on in our mind and how this really exhausts us. You know, this kind of busy mind that's always working on something, processing something. We are going to speak to a meditation teacher in the a little bit later on in the show. Jendrick's going to talk to us about why he teaches meditation and why it's so important. But before that, this is kind of a good lead-in. I talk about this idea of learning to pause your pointless ponderings, and I write about this in my book called Say Yes to Life that's out soon. Get over to my website and have a little look at it, adeleclough.com, if you want to know more. So yeah, in chapter 7 I talk about this idea of getting in control of what's happening in our minds, because I wonder how much time you spend wondering what someone meant, what the way someone looked at you might have meant, why someone seemed off with you or ignored you, or why somebody deleted you as a contact on social media. Do any of these sound familiar? These things we like, what happened there? Why did that happen? What's going on? Why did they treat me like that? Here's the thing, you can think about those things all day long and all night, and you probably won't get any closer to an actual answer that is accurate. You just won't. But what you might do is get more and more tired, and then also it'll seem like a bigger and bigger and bigger deal, because what we focus on expands. So the more we think about something, the bigger it gets. So what was a bit of a funny look in the street as someone passed you by can just take over your whole day as you relive the story, the event, and tell anyone who will listen about just how horrific it was. But it was just a look. So there's something about like, just whoa, just slow down there. Some bigger things we might spend time pondering are: why did we not get the promotion that we went for? Why do we struggle to make friends? Why were we adopted? Why were we abused? Again, I don't think you're going to stumble on the answer by thinking about it. You're also probably not going to get an accurate answer by talking it through again and again with friends, because they're just going to share various insights. But in turn, they're making those questions bigger and bigger and bigger and having more possible answers. But who knows which is the right one? So, yeah, my point is, do your endless ponderings give you a satisfactory answer? Does thinking about them frequently actually resolve the questioning and give you a sense of peace so that you move on? Because I think the chances are probably not. Because instead, the questioning just leads you to it going around and around and around in your head, zapping your energy by being an ongoing distraction from all the good things in life. So, it sounds easy, doesn't it? You know, this idea of, whoa, just calm it down. But when you start to recognize it, it's really, really helpful. And here's one of the things that I use myself to help me realize whether the thing I'm pondering over is really big or whether it's insignificant and I should just let it go, or I could just let it go. I ask myself, will this bother me tomorrow? Will this bother me next week? Will this bother me next month, next year, in 5 years? It doesn't matter what timescales you use, just ask yourself the question. So you notice you're irritated, got a funny look in the street, I'm upset. Will it bother you tomorrow? It might still bother you tomorrow. So ask yourself, okay, is it going to bother me next week? Now, what I'll say is, most often you realise you probably won't even remember next week. So that lets you know it's not really, really significant in your life. But it works the other way. If something happens in your life that upsets you, that you're pondering over, and you know this is going to bother you in a year or 5 years, that lets you know straight away this is major. And it's what I would say to do with it then is think about what support you need and really get into thinking about how to take good care of yourself and being, you know, your own best friend. So I love that kind of timescale questioning. I find it really, really helpful. And I hope you'll find it helpful too, as a way to kind of pause your pointless ponderings. Let's have a little song now while you think about that. Think about the last time something really played on your mind, or what's playing on your mind now. Check in with yourself. Is it going to bother you tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, 5 years? And just see if that makes you feel differently about it. So we're going to have a song that was requested by Toby, and it's all about moving on from hard times and not being too hard on yourself. Toby got in touch to say he played this song on repeat during a really painful breakup last summer. Oh, Toby, my heart really goes out to you, because I've been through some breakups that I wasn't sure I'd ever come out the other side. Just absolutely horrific. I do hope you're feeling better. I do hope you still, you know, believe in love. Even though it can really hurt us, it can be and feel fantastic. So thank you for sending your song request. I'm so pleased it was helpful to you through a hard time. This is Jess Glynn, Don't Be So Hard on Yourself. Jess Glynn, Don't Be So Hard on Yourself on Smile Radio, playing that for Toby. This is the Get Inspired Show. I'm Adele Clough, I'm a life coach, and I'm bringing you a show today that is all about keeping calm in the chaos of life. I visited a Buddhist centre to chat with a meditation teacher called Jendrick Rohsius, all about modern day Buddhism and its benefits, and I'm going to be playing that interview for you shortly, so stay tuned for that. First of all, I just want us to take a little bit of time to think about all the choices we have in our life. I think many of us think that things have to be the way they are now, or the way we were told they should be as a child, and really life's not that static. You know, the evidence for that is it depends where you live in the world as to how your day-to-day life might be, and it depends on the community you live in as well. All around the world, people live very different day-to-day lives, so it's not as static a thing as we might have been led to believe, and that's really exciting news, because it means we can shape and design the life we want for ourselves. But I think many of us kind of get stuck with what we should do. You know, we have these ideas, don't we, of what we should do. We should work so many hours a week. I found that a really interesting one. How many full-time jobs are sort of 35, 37, 38 hours a week? Where did that come from? Because I don't know how many people stop to think, how many hours do I need to work to fund the lifestyle that makes me happiest? And spoiler alert, generally people who have expensive cars, TVs, all the technology, it's not really a fast track to happiness. It might be for you, and if that's what you love, great. But generally, there's not a correlation between designer clothes, handbags, shoes, etc., and happiness. Happiness is more of a sort of internal thing that we tune into. We'll talk about that another time, I'm sure. But I wanted to talk to you today about this idea of should, this powerful word should, that we should be doing this and we should be doing that. And I'm not a fan of the word should. I really don't like it. It's very powerful and it's heavy and it's all kind of about responsibility and expectation. There's no fun in it. I don't think there's any fun in it. What I invite you to do is try thinking about the word could and the things you could have in your life. Because could is a much softer word. Could is about possibility, opportunity and choices. Just listen to me say these two things. If I say, I should go to my Wednesday evening group, really, that feels really different to, I could go to my Wednesday evening group. And it's just the changing of that one word, I should go, I could go. I think the words we're using internally as well as what we're saying outside in the world, they're really powerful. And all these shoulds, they're simply beliefs that we're holding on to. We should work 35 hours a week, 40 hours a week. Who made that up? And when did we buy into that belief? Now, just to be clear, a belief is just a thought that you think over and over and over again. That's all it is. It's just a thought that's been persistent with you. So I invite you to start thinking different thoughts. Start thinking and choosing what you want to believe about your life. And then you're really on the journey of change. And that is where massive shifts can happen, and that is when you start to shape your life. And I'm so excited to be with you on this journey. So while you're thinking about all of that, while you're thinking about beliefs are simply thoughts that we think over and over again, and while you're thinking about, yeah, hey, hang on, who made up the rules about how many hours a week I'm working and the things I need in my life, the possessions, like what's that all about? While you're thinking about that, here's a little bit of inspiring music for you from Joy Williams. Joy Williams, Sunny Day on Smile Radio. This is the Get Inspired Show with me, Adele Clough. Today we're talking all about keeping calm in the chaos of life. And I've received a question from a listener who would like some advice on a situation in her life. If you have a question for me, my email address is hello@adeleclough.com. There's a clue in there as to what my website is as well, adeleclough.com. If you want to know more about me and life coaching, let's dive in here to Sarah's question. So Sarah says she has a friend she loves dearly called Esme, and Esme is suffering and struggling with depression, and she often calls Sarah late at night wanting a listening ear. Sarah's energy is being constantly depleted by this situation, but she feels guilt-ridden and selfish whenever she thinks about saying to Esme that it's too much for her and that she wants to get more sleep. She is asking, what can she do to take care of herself and her own need to rest and sleep, but also be a good friend to Esme and not leave her feeling alone and abandoned? Sarah, this is a great question, a really good question. You sound like such a compassionate and loving friend. Thank you for reaching out and seeking some support with this. It's really hard when we're supporting people with mental health issues. They don't just affect the person experiencing them, of course, but those around them that love them. So first of all, it sounds like Esme is very, very lucky to have you and have you wanting to be there for her as much as you can. So let's break it down a little bit. I think the first thing to say is we can't make anyone better. You know, Esme is on her own journey with depression, and my hope is that she'll get support, professional support, and recover fully, as many people do. Nobody has to live with depression. There is effective treatment available, and some of that is in the form of medication, and some of that is in the form of talking therapy and things like meditation etc. We're going to be talking about meditation shortly, so do listen up for that. But just thinking about you and your need for self-care, really. Yes, absolutely. Self-care, vitally important. It is not selfish to care for yourself. It is not selfish to want to sleep through the night without a phone call, because of course the phone calls you're taking, they demand a lot of you emotionally, a lot of your energy. And as someone who supports other people, as someone who has worked as a counsellor, I know what that feels like, to be there for somebody, to walk with them. So I really want to say you deserve to sleep well. You absolutely deserve that. But thinking about Esme and what's happening for her, here's a different way you might not see it. She feels lonely at night and she would like some support, and you're quite an easy option, because it sounds like you probably always answer the phone and you do such a great job of being a good friend, a listening friend, a loving friend. So she can call you and she knows you're there. So there's a little easy option there. But what I would say is, for as long as you're there as her crutch, just maybe she's sidestepping some of her choices around recovery, and maybe she's not fully seeing how unwell she is. What I mean is, if you say to her, you're noticing you need to rest more, you're struggling a little bit the next day with tiredness, and maybe you think your immune system's struggling, you're getting more colds, feeling unwell, you wonder if someone else could be there for her. Like, if you're from the UK, we've got the Samaritans service that's 24/7. It's a listening service. It is for people who are struggling, wanting a listening ear. It's not a suicide service, as some people think, although they will take calls and be with people who are experiencing thoughts of suicide or wanting to act on them. But it's not just for that. So available to Esme is a listening service of highly trained volunteers who would listen to her any hour of the day. So there is another option there. I wonder how that feels for you to hear me say that there could be someone else available for her. And I think also there's something about her knowing that it's hard on you, and I think that's okay for her to know. It is not selfish for you to let her know that it is tiring for you and that you're struggling, but that you love her dearly and you want to be there for her, of course. But I think this is the time for her to open up to looking at her journey of recovery. And I hope you feel okay about me saying that to you, that I think it is time to gently step back, and if you feel you can, give her some resources as an alternative. Again, in the UK we've got Mind, the leading mental health charity. A GP can be a helpful resource if she wants to look at getting some counselling, or there's lots of therapeutic models available. Cognitive behavioural therapy is a great one for many people if she doesn't just want to go the traditional counselling route. But I wonder how it would be to have a chat with her and talk to her about some of these things that might be helpful, and to explain that it's time for you to get a little bit more rest in your life. You are there for her, but to put some boundaries in place. Maybe tell her how you feel you can best help her, and if you feel you want to and you feel you can, you could always go to some appointments with her, be with her if she rings up somewhere wanting to explore options. You could go online and look at some meditations, things like that. There's some other ways to be a friend other than being on call 24/7. By all means, have that conversation with her, that if she's feeling desperate, what she should do. But I think it's okay now to step back. I'm giving you permission to do that, Sarah. I'm giving you permission to just reflect on the fact that you have been an amazing friend, and now it is time for there to be other support in place so that Esme can recover from her depression. I hope that's helpful. Thanks for getting in touch, Sarah. If you have a question you'd like me to answer on the Get Inspired radio show, you can email me hello@adeleclough.com. The Get Inspired show is all about inspiring you to change your life and unleash your full potential. I'm joined now by Jendrick, who teaches meditation.
Good morning. How are you doing, Adele?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Really well.
People listening might not have experienced meditation before, or necessarily even know what it is. It seems to be kind of popping up in the press quite a lot, in the media. There's talk of it. It's quite in vogue, I think. But what does it mean to you as someone who teaches it?
You're right, meditation is popular. It has a buzzword, doesn't it? Meditation, mindfulness, all these words that float around and people use them. And more people are aware that meditation exists. So, what is meditation? Meditation is a practical approach to working with your own mind. So, it's about learning to improve the qualities, the positive aspects of your mind through meditation. How do you do it? Well, you've got to understand what the mind is. First of all, the mind is separate from the body, from a Buddhist understanding. So it is a continuum of awareness that we have all the time. So we have our sense awarenesses, our feelings, all of these things appearing. So meditation is basically working with our own mind. So we have basic breathing meditations which are designed to make the mind peaceful and spacious and calm, and then there are other meditations where you can put more positive aspects into your being. So in the sense, for example, you can meditate on loving kindness. You can think about others' happiness is important, and your mind, your heart opens up, so to speak, and then you take that out into the world. There are other meditations where you meditate on death, for example. People think, well, that's really harsh. And it's like, well, actually, it's very refreshing and very positive to think about it, because it means, what have I got right now? I've got an amazing opportunity to work with my mind, to work with people around me, my family, and so on. So it puts things into perspective, understanding that things are impermanent. Interesting. So there are a whole range of topics, or we call them objects of meditations. But meditation basically is a process of changing the mind from negative to positive. So that's what it is. Yeah.
And
It sounds easy, but actually that is something you've got to work with, and develop it over time.
And that's what you do as a teacher. You support people through that process.
Correct. Yes, I was interested in meditation when I was a student. That's 20 years ago, and then I met a fantastic Buddhist teacher here in Hull. A Buddhist teacher, and again, Kelsey Rupert has been teaching me for a long time, and so I've been teaching for about 15 years. So I've been teaching meditation, but I'm also a primary school teacher, so I work with children. And I can tell you, being positive matters in daily life, because if I'm, as a teacher, negative, well, the whole kids have a negative experience, and they're all stressed and unhappy at the end of the day. So meditation doesn't just matter for me, matters for others as well, all those around us.
So what kind of people do you think are drawn to meditation? You teach people, other people from all walks of life, or is it something that you think a particular type of person is drawn to?
It's really interesting. I mean, here at the Buddhist Center in Hull is a proper, I don't want to say working class city, but it is a working city. It has many people from all walks of life. And here at the Buddhist Center, we have people, we've got builders coming, we've got people who are from academic backgrounds, we've got people who are not working at the moment. Actually, meditation helps everybody. It absolutely helps everybody, because its application is available to everybody. It's not only for certain types of people. So, yeah.
Can children meditate, or is it something you start at a certain age in life?
It's interesting that you're saying that. We've just had a kids festival at the big Buddhist festival, a Buddhist center over in Pocklington, and we had about 50 children coming. So, and yeah, children can learn to meditate, and they love it. They soak it up, and they understand that being positive matters. If you're positive in the beginning of a weekend, you're more likely to have a beautiful, good weekend, depending on, how you carry it through the weekend. So if you're positive and you maintain that positive aspect, then you can have fantastic days.
So how young was the youngest child that joined you? Were they preschool age, or is
Yeah, we had a few toddlers. I mean, some of them were 3. I mean, obviously, they just play, but they do sit for a few minutes, and they enjoy being in a blessed environment, But I would say most kids are about 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So between 5 and 10 or 11. So yeah, we've got a
Wonderful.
few teenagers as well, actually. So
Oh, now
that's
that's an
fun.
interesting topic.
Very much, yeah, because obviously they, they loved it. They love it, yeah. But they've been coming from an ear, so they know how cool it is to have, lots of beautiful, positive people around.
So, what was it that drew you towards meditation at the beginning? You mentioned you were a student. What was it that? What was your story of how you stumbled upon it and were
Yeah, it's
drawn in?
interesting. I come from quite an angry background. So, I'm originally from Germany, and yeah, I just don't know. I mean, life didn't go the way I wanted to be, and it seemed my wishes weren't fulfilled, and I was angry and unhappy, and there was depression there as well. And I realized that I had to do something. I had to do something. I had to work with myself. So I looked into many different styles of activities, that you can throw yourself into. And then I realized actually you have to use meditation. You have to have a tool with which you then approach your mind. So, and I did look into a variety of meditations, ended up settling with the Kadampa Buddhist meditations because they're very simple, very clear, and they've been designed for a modern mind, and so I could relate to that. So there weren't that many traditional aspects to it. Originally it comes from Tibet, but the teacher has made it available to the world in the sense that it is not it is all about meditation, so it doesn't have many Tibetan aspects in it anymore, so which I can relate to as being a Westerner, so yeah.
So, is it necessary for people to follow a certain religion or have a certain interest in religion to benefit from meditation?
Meditation is a process of, as I said, developing positive qualities of mind. So the basic breathing meditations are completely free to anybody. And we have many Christians coming actually as well because they realize that developing love, you need to have a good set of instructions. So to work with your mind, you need to have a teacher. You do need to have somebody who teaches you. And we base our meditations on the Buddhist lineage, but it's about benefiting from it. So it doesn't actually matter where you're coming from and what religious background or spiritual background you have. Everybody can take some benefit away.
You touched on mental health there, and I think that that's a really good topic to kind of bring in. What are the benefits for someone who might be experiencing anxiety, depression, or other mental health issues? What's your experience of working with people who identify as battling with mental health?
Well, I know where that's coming from because I have been depressed and I know how difficult it is to come out of that dark alleyway, I would call it. You're stuck in this negative, very deflated, unhappy space, isn't it, mind? My practical experience is you just have to just try, work with it, and over time your mind will change. If you have the wish to change the mind, you can do it. Definitely. I mean, my experience is that, yeah. So it is small steps in the beginning because the mind is often stuck in spaces and relating to itself and to others in a negative way, but nothing is permanent. Everything changes, so if we understand the underlying force of everything is impermanence, then we know we can use it and change our mind. It's about changing our mind and changing our life.
And what do people need if they're up for starting to meditate, exploring that? Like, what do we need to know? Is there a certain position we need to sit in? Do we need certain clothes? What do we need to start our meditation journey?
It's very interesting that you're saying it's a journey because it is a journey. You start and then you progress and you work with it on a daily basis. So it's just a little bit, we're advised to do 10 minutes of breathing meditation a day, 15 minutes, not longer, just to have it light, finding a quiet space. So space that you feel comfortable and you feel you're not disturbed. So it can be just a quiet bedroom. It can be a place in the conservatory. I sometimes meditate in the car, because I think that's a quiet space as well. You just park somewhere and you just have to sit comfortably. The whole point is sitting comfortably so that you can let go of your body. Yeah. So traditionally, obviously, people sat on the floor with cushions and they wrapped their legs around their neck. But we don't need to do that anymore. Modern people can sit on chairs. We sit on really comfortable chairs here. It's about being comfortable. The main aspect of the position is having a straight back, because meditation is not an aid to fall asleep. It's about actually maintaining an awareness of an object. So the object for a breathing meditation would be your breath at the end of your nose, and you just gently focus on the inflow and outflow. Try not to be distracted by your thoughts, because they're the main instigators of distraction, isn't it? Distracting thoughts, they destroy it. So what happens if you sit comfortably, you just forget about your body, and you can place your awareness mindfully on the object. So breath, meaning you just focus on breathing in and out. And what happens is, it's magical actually. Your mind relaxes, it becomes spacious. Many people don't know what space of mind means, because they're so plugged into the external, they're so overdone with the task they have to do, they're stressed, they're tired, they're very, very busy, busy mind, busy life, and we think that's how the life has to be. Actually, no, you can create a spacious, peaceful mind and then use it. Actually, you're much more efficient in your day-to-day life. So it's all about just finding an object, the object breathing meditation, and then trying to maintain an awareness on this inflow and outflow of breath, and then just see what happens.
So if thoughts come to the mind, things we should be doing, our to-do list,
Yeah.
Where we're going next, what happens then? So we've focused our attention on our breathing in and out of our nose, and then suddenly the to-do list is with us.
Yes, of course.
What
We have
happens
a
then?
big to-do list. Everybody does. And I have a to-do list. Well, we have to have an intention, first of all. In the beginning, before you start saying, right, now I'm setting aside 15 minutes where I'm working on my mind. The to-do list, which is usually all external things, are not important at the moment. This to-do list will be still there at 15 minutes. So I'm just parking that aside. The intention is, I am going to focus on my breath. Now, if thoughts arise, we try not to grasp at them. We don't try to give them energy. If you give something energy, it grows, it gets bigger. But think of a flower. If you give it fertilizer, it grows and becomes big. So in a similar way, if you focus on thoughts, you develop trains of thoughts, and we know them because we are often entangled in them, and we use them in our day-to-day life, obviously. But in breathing meditation, we just let go. So we're advised to see them like clouds in the sky. So then they don't have to be close, they are more further away, and they just float, they come and they go. If you don't focus on them, they will arise and they will disappear again into what we call the clarity of your mind. So if you don't grasp at the thoughts, at some point the thoughts will become less and less, and the spaces in between will become less pronounced. And at some point, your mind just is peaceful. It's peaceful, spacious, and you have this beautiful tranquility, this very content feeling arising, very beautiful. And then you just rest in that. You just try to be absorbed. And you know what it's like, because it's quite difficult to come out of that. It's so comfortable, it's so lovely. And then when you come out of it, then you try not to lose that beautiful.
So you carry it with you.
You carry it with you, that's the whole point.
And then return and do some more the next day.
So the more you practice, we say practice makes perfect, obviously. It does. Very quickly, I can now generate that mind within a minute or two. It used to be 15 minutes, so now you just sit down, just let go of all your thoughts, and then just relax, focus on your breath, and you feel really refreshed. So 10 minutes of breathing meditation makes you feel as if you had like a really good quality nap, for example, But we need to understand this is just the basis of further meditation. So breathing meditation itself, it's a bit like a pot noodle, yeah? So if you think about pot noodles, you chuck some hot water on it, 2 minutes later you've got something that resembles food, I mean, me being a foodie, I kind of think, well, but it works, and it's okay, but it doesn't last very long, does it? So breathing meditation is the same. It doesn't have the same power like a good nourishing meal, doesn't it? So it works, and it's quick, but it fills a function, it fills a hole, so to speak, doesn't it? But breathing meditation is seen more as the ground upon which you then build more powerful meditations, like meditations on love or meditations on patience. I mean, that was one of my main objects for a long time, because if you're angry, Buddha advises you to work with the object of patience, accepting situations as they are and maintaining a peaceful mind. So some people say, well, it's really difficult for me to meditate alone at home, and I can understand that. So there are a few aids, there are a few things that support us in our home meditation. Obviously, going to classes, you are supported through the teacher and through the general energy of other meditators and so on. But there's, for example, there's a set of CDs that work really well. One of them is called Meditations for Relaxation by TARPA publication, THARPA publications. They also have this book called Transform Your Life. Now that is, for me, the most revolutionary book that people can use. So Transform Your Life by the same publisher. But you can find a free download of this. It's amazing. They made it available through the internet. Obviously, you can buy the paperback version for £10 on Amazon. It's a non-profit book in that sense, but obviously producing books cost money. But there is a free download. So Transform Your Life, and then just write on free download into Google, and you can download it for a Kindle. You can download for an iPad, and especially there is a section on inner peace. Powerful. I mean, really, really powerful. So the first 2 or 3 chapters for me are really powerful because it explains where you find happiness. Where do you find it? You find it, you develop it within your own mind. How do you do it? Through meditation. How can I find something that I really want? Because we all want to be happy, don't we?
We're striving for happiness.
We're striving for happiness all the time. And most people think it's a bar of chocolate or it is going to Barbados or whatever, isn't it? And actually Buddha says, no, actually happiness is a state of mind that you have to develop, that you have to nurture, that you can experience, So many people mistake external happiness, and search for it. It's like chasing rainbows. You never find it, Real happiness, that's within, So I can highly recommend, Transform Your Life. And I bought a paperback version, and I've got one in my car now and at home, so I've got 2 because it's such a powerful book. But download it for free, and just see if it works for you.
But what a lovely idea to have it in your car. So if there's a few moments you arrive somewhere early, you can really make use of that time. If you're waiting for somebody, it's just there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great top tip. I love that.
It really is a powerful book, I have to say. I've read many, 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 many Buddhist books. Well, I've read many spiritual books, full stops, and we're talking about hundreds, and that book really is it's amazing. It really connects to a busy Western mind, and I do want to transform my life. I don't want to be an ordinary person forever. I want to become extraordinary, so being inspired by the author Geshe Kelsang Gyatso, very powerful Buddhist teacher. And so it's wonderful to use these little nuggets of wisdom to enrich your day-to-day life, and I can recommend it. I very much enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun to be positive. It's fun to embrace others with a loving, positive, cherishing mind instead of a stressed, negative, angry mind,
What is your invitation for people who might want to connect with you, find out more, possibly explore classes with you? How can we find out more about you and the wonderful work you're doing?
Yeah, so there are many different ways. Obviously, you can just Google things on the internet. So if you write on Hull and meditation, then you have the Buddhist Center popping up. On the website, you've got lots of different classes, from beginners classes to more advanced classes. We've got workshops, we've got retreats. Obviously, there's the big Buddhist Center in Pocklington that is very popular. They run hundreds of different classes. But all over England, we're lucky to have a network of about 300 centers and branches. So it's quite extensive, Great Britain is really lucky. We're lucky in Hull. We're starting a new beginners class at the Hull Truck Theatre, which is very central, right next to the station. Very beautiful theatre, and we're starting classes there. So look on the website and have a look if you can find out more information that way.
Super duper. Thank you so much. This has been really insightful, and I've really enjoyed hearing your take on it. Particularly, I love to hear pot noodle compared or that association. That just delights me. It's such fun. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Adele. Thank you very much.
Next week's show is all about the benefits of laughter, and I'll be chatting with comedic band Lou Berger. For a taster of their music, here's their song, That Won't Happen to Me. It's silly and fun, but it also reminds us to stay safe on the road. Join me next Saturday at 9 a.m. Have a great week. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Get Inspired Show, please feel free to like, subscribe and leave me a comment letting me know your thoughts. And as always, remember that you're precious and take good care.